So I mentioned this on whatever day that was, 2 days ago, Thursday, that one of the reasons we give awards is because it helps us understand as a community what's important to us. It helps us know, hey, we want more of that. It's what Kira just said. We want to like focus on the positive. So we're going to begin today with the Organizational Member of the Year Award. This award is presented to an organization that maintains innovative and outstanding programming at continuously high standards and demonstrates consistent commitment to and support for the work of AEE. The award was established in 1997 when many of AEE's awards were started. It was a banner year for awards, 1997. The National Center for Outdoor and Adventure Education is a world leader in the development and delivery of outdoor education and urban and wilderness medicine training. Since running its first course in 2009, NCOAE has grown into a global adventure education provider that's committed to creating and facilitating wilderness-based experiences that foster personal growth, professional development, and the acquisition or improvement of one's technical outdoor and urban wilderness medicine skills. Notably, NCOAE is one of the few organizations accredited by both AEE and the Commission on Accreditation for Pre-Hospital Continuing Education. Please stand up and recognize the achievement of the National Center for Outdoor and Adventure Education. Let's give a big hand. Come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations, Cameron. Oh, we want a photo? You guys? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Over here. Awesome.
All right. Wow. Thank you guys so much. It's an honor to be with you all here today. To my fellow members of AEE, board members, staff, conference attendees, and other award members, thank you. It is with great humility that we accept the 2023 Organizational Member of the Year Award on behalf of the National Center for Outdoor and Adventure Education. My name is Liz Shirley, and I'm joined here today with Cameron Francisco, our Associate Director of Outdoor Education. As Cam and I stand here, we're reminded of the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. This sentiment embodies the spirit of AEE as well as our own outdoor education programming, and is perhaps the reason NCOAE has been named Organizational Member of the Year. At NCOAE, enriching your work and being inspired, the theme of this year's conference starts with everyone understanding and agreeing to work together to carry out our mission, which is to design and deliver handcrafted outdoor and adventure educational experiences that promote personal growth, professional development, and stewardship in our communities and the natural environment. As Director of Outdoor Education, I've spent the last 7 years working with an incredible interdisciplinary team of experiential outdoor and adventure educators who are all deeply committed to our mission and going far together. And I'll let Cam tell you a little more.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, AEE. I think most everyone here will agree that being deeply committed to a mission is not only what sets each of our organizations apart, but it's what allows us to go far together. In other words, the mission matters. When NCOAE approached me about leaving my job as a private school administrator with experience in curriculum design and student affairs, I was already familiar with the organization. I previously served on our board of directors and also served as a volunteer and board member at our sister organization, Education Without Walls. Being deeply rooted in practices like accreditation and curriculum assessment, it was important to me to continue to work in an organization that is mission-driven and doesn't operate in a vacuum. And that's what I found at the National Center for Outdoor and Adventure Education. As Liz said, our organization is mission-driven, fueled by an unwavering set of core values and educational framework that guides every aspect of our work and focus. Going fast is not what we're about. Going far together is. In the world of associations, there are common threads that bind us all together: the pursuit of excellence, the quest for knowledge, the agreement that commonly established standards matter, and the desire to make a positive impact. Receiving this award affirms that we are on the right path. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Cam and Liz. The Michael Stratton Practitioner Award honors an experiential practitioner who has exhibited consistently high levels of performance in working directly with students, participants, clients, etc. This person's work demonstrates that a practitioner can bring about significant change and impact in the lives of people in their program. The award was established in 1986, a little early, actually. And in 1989, the name was changed to the Michael Stratton Practitioner Award in honor of the first recipient. Mike was involved with Outward Bound since its initial course in the mid-60s in Colorado. He later worked at the Carroll School in Massachusetts, where he created a special program for children with dyslexia. Mike's accomplishments, high energy, and perseverance are a great model for practitioners everywhere. Heather Yazzie Campbell is an outdoor leadership program director for Project Venture. She oversees experiential and adventure-based education programs at several Indigenous schools across New Mexico. Additionally, she leads Project Venture implementation workshops for a plethora of Indigenous communities throughout the United States and Canada. She is a curriculum writer and assists in developing and honing Project Adventure program methods. She has been involved in the field of experiential education for over 20 years. Heather grew up on the White Mountain Apache Reservation in Arizona and enjoys seeking adventure in the sandstone-infused lands of the Southwest. Please stand up and give some AE love to Heather Yazzie Campbell. Congratulations.
Awesome. Hey, thank you. I'm honored and humbled. I'd like you all to do something for me really quick. Take a look at your hand. Right, left, it doesn't matter. A coworker pointed this out to me because I was trying to tie in some thought here, and thank you for your help, Noelle. If you take a look at your hand, we all have the 5 components of a star. And physically, we're all made up of the minerals and components of a star. So essentially, we're all star people, and we all have that ability to shine that starlight onto one another and onto the challenges that we may face in our world. This path chose me. I came into the world of AEE and adventure education, not by accident, but just, it was a time in my life where I wasn't quite sure where to go. And so this path, I don't walk it alone. My parents have contributed quite a bit. My husband and my 2 girls, my grandparents, I thank them. Mac Hall, our founder and executive director, his vision and dream has helped me learn how to work with our youth in a positive way. For the people I work with, your strength and your passion and example has helped guide me to do better. And for all the Indigenous nations I have been invited to, and there's quite a bit. Someday I need to count them up. I'm just really grateful for the invitation to be able to go on their lands, to, show them a positive way in which I've seen work on how to work with our youth. And I'm just so grateful to them for their passion and the action that they're taking within their own community to bring positivity to their community. And AEE, thank you for the recognition. It is encouraging to see more diversity at this conference. When my very first conference here, there was maybe one other person that might have looked like me. And this conference, a lot of my coworkers are here, so I'm grateful they wanted to come. There's other people that I've worked with in their community, they're here too, so that was exciting to see them. But AEE must do more. Yeah. The land acknowledgements and acknowledgement to original habitants, that's awesome to see. But AEE must do more. Having a diversity of knowledge come together will allow us to find solutions to the challenges of our world if we are open, humble, and transparent. So let's all shine our starlight together. Hey, thank you.
The Servant Leader Award recognizes individuals for their active, excellent service leadership at The Servant Leadership Award recognizes individuals for their active, excellent servant leadership at AEE. The phrase servant leadership was coined by Robert K. Greenleaf in The Servant as Leader, an essay published in 1970. Greenleaf said, "A servant leader focuses primarily on the growth and well-being of people and the communities to which they belong. The servant leader shares power, puts the needs of others first, and helps people develop and perform as highly as possible." This award was originated in 1997. Dr. Denise Mitten is a widely experienced adventure guide from scuba to mountaineering. She is internationally recognized for her innovative scholarship in outdoor and environmental pedagogy, ethics, and gender. Denise has volunteered with AEE since the 1980s, which I know is before some of you were born. And she has presented at AEE over 40 times at international and regional conferences. She was the SEER coordinator for 5 years, editor of Experiential Education Theory and Practices, and the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Field Guide editor, where all the proceeds go to AEE. She has been on the International Conference Committee and Workshop Chairperson. She's the JEE Advisory Board and Reviewer, Accreditation Council and Site Reviewer, Board of Directors President, Board Treasurer, and is with the Women's Professional Group. Please stand up and show some love and recognize servant leader Denise Mitten. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank all of you, because I know in all our own ways, we are all servant leaders, and I appreciate that about the fields that use experiential education. I am fortunate to have gotten the service bug early in life, modeled by my parents, my mother's political advocacy, my father's role in desegregating the local hospital, my grandmother including us in her work with developmentally challenged kiddos. In some ways, I don't feel I can take credit for the service. I do what is to be congruent with who I am. And maybe that's similar to what Heather said. I don't know that I chose this path. The path chose me. I encourage us to think about service because so for example, there were a group of dentists who were thought to be providing unethical dental care. And what they did in this experimental program is they helped the dentists see themselves as offering a service to people rather than being a professional. I know that's a little bit of a binary, but they found when people think of themselves as offering a service, no matter what profession they may be in or what field they may be in, then the people were more ethical and more often used the ethic of care. That was interesting to me. So when I did my dissertation, I looked at outdoor leaders' ethics, and I found a similar thing. Outdoor leaders who believed they were offering a service to their participants, a service to their clients, were actually demonstrated more intentional use of the ethic of care, as opposed to outdoor professionals who believed they were offering a professional service. And I only mention that to see how language can influence even what our behaviors are and how we feel about what we're doing. Once again, I really appreciate, standing up here and the accolades. And I want to share it with everybody because I know there are at least 650 other deserving people in this room. So thank you very much.
The Ewald and Hahn Address is presented annually by a person designated by the Board of Directors who has contributed to the development and advancement of experiential education with the tenacity and conviction exemplified by Marina Ewald and Hahn. There's a short video to explain more. Sharon Sand is an urban planner working on climate change adaptation, protecting biodiversity, and providing equitable access to nature parks and green spaces. She works as the public grants program manager for Trust for Public Land in California, where she obtains public funding for conservation and urban parks projects in neighborhoods that need it most. In this role, she also provides feedback on state policy and strategy related to funding land preservation and access to green space. Sharon has worked and volunteered in various roles with Outward Bound Adventures in Pasadena, California for over 30 years. Please give a warm welcome to Sharon Sand, who's going to introduce Charles Thomas.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Amy, for that introduction. It is my honor to be here with you all today, and it was a pleasure to share a drink with you, many of you last night in the Children's Museum, where we got to explore our inner child for a moment together. As Amy said, my name is Sharon Sand, and I manage the Public Grants Program for Trust for Public Land in California. This means that I work to connect public funding to our projects, including urban parks for disinvested neighborhoods, green schoolyards where there is only asphalt, multi-use trails to make it easier for folks in the city to get around and access green space. And finally, land conservation, so that open space can be protected as public land and provide access, which is essential for all forms of experiential education. Why am I telling you all this? Because it connects me to what you do. I see the importance of educational programming to activate urban parks and to bring urban folks to open space they may not otherwise know about, or know how to access, or know that they are welcome, even when that open space may be right around the corner. Experiential education connects those who need it most to natural spaces, both near and far. And now I'd like to introduce you to the man who is known throughout the country for doing just that, and also for educating thousands upon thousands on how to do what he has done for so many years. Let me ask you a few questions. How many of you are good at hiking? Raise your hand. Great, take a look around. How many of you are good at showing other people how to hike? Pretty good. How many of you are good at backpacking? Quite a few. And how many of you are good at showing other people how to backpack? Still quite a few. How about comfortably and confidently going into Jordan Downs in Watts and explaining to a single mother or grandmother that you are well equipped to do that for her precious young family member? How about doing the same for a tribal grandma? How about, besides convincing them that you will protect their child, that you convince them that it is absolutely essential that their child go on this outdoor excursion? That is the magic of Charles Thomas and what he teaches. He has both the hard skills of backpacking and outdoor survival, environmental education, but also the soft skills that are so essential to getting kids of color into the outdoors, and also letting those kids know they are essential to the outdoors and environmental field. Charles Thomas has dual degrees in environmental studies and physical geography from Southern Oregon University and a master's in environmental science from Cal State LA. He has served as executive director of Outward Bound Adventures for 23 years, and he has dedicated his life to promoting diversity and inclusion in conservation and outdoor recreation. Charles has garnered innumerable awards and accolades, notably being a White House invitee and being honored by U.S. congressional representatives, multiple state legislators, local elected officials, and community-based organizations. He has also received the National Mosaic Conference Award, bestowed by a jury of his peers, and he received the prestigious Howard Bell Lifetime Achievement Award, acknowledgement of his profound influence in environmental education. As Pasadena's first environmental affairs coordinator, he created the first gang intervention environmental restoration program. Charles has designed over 10 enduring award-winning programs that enrich avoided, overlooked, and forgotten urban communities. With the National Park Service, and in order to staff his award-winning program called Roots and Wings, Charles created the Diverse Outdoor Leadership Institute, DOLLY, a training program that certifies urban people of color as wilderness instructors to lead interpretive trips for underrepresented youth into national parks and wilderness areas. His other notable programs include Teach Me to Camp for single low-income mothers and their families, and the Public Lands Education Program, serving over 15 Native American tribes. Charles is married with 2 adult daughters. Please join me in welcoming my husband, Charles Thomas.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead. Well, thank you. Thank you. Am I mic'd up? Can you guys hear me? Thank you. They didn't tell me that I had to be inspiring and entertaining to get this award, so they may want to take this back right now because what I'm about to do may not inspire, but it most certainly will give you some information that I think that all of us need. I have my clicker here. So you just heard a lot about me, but I want to tell you the journey, especially my ethnic journey that I have traveled to get to where I am. So again, my name is Charles Thomas. I am the son of Charles Thomas Sr. and Sachi Oyama. My father was an African American and Native American, very powerful man. And he was a great grandson of a slave from Western Africa. My great grandfather was a Buffalo Soldier. Two of my family members worked on the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman. My mother was second generation Japanese. And if you all know your history, remember the Japanese were all interned in the 40s. My mother got 3 of those years interned at Hart Mountain, Wyoming. Her parents immigrated in from Kyushu, Japan. And I'm told that we come from samurai lineage. All the facts I gave you have been substantiated, except for the samurai lineage. I leave that in there because it sounds really cool to say, hey, man, I'm a samurai, okay? But by virtue of my ancestral background, it seemed that I was destined to do this type of work. It is not, as many people do this type of work, it is not something that you're particularly fall into. It's just something that you do because you're driven to do it, and you develop that skill set along the way. And I want to talk about something else that's really important for me, is that I run an organization, this organization here, Outward Bound Adventures. And everyone says, oh, you're part of Outward Bound. And I always say, no, I'm not part of Outward Bound. Outward Bound Adventures is actually older than Outward Bound. It was created by a Tuskegee Airman. Well, let me back up. I wanted to show you guys this. That's my mommy and daddy right there. And that's 7 of 9 of us right there. We're sitting in the projects on the couch. 2 of us are missing there. But moving forward to Outward Bound Adventures. So Outward Bound Adventures is not an offshoot of Outward Bound. It started before Outward Bound. They did their first course in 1959. And it continues to do courses, small groups. They start out with larger groups, but then they decide to go to small groups. That's me on my first 14-day course. The little guy right there with the puffy jacket, the helmet, the pot on his head. We're in base camp and it was hailing like crazy, so we decided to put pots on our head. Those are hail helmets, okay? Hail, yeah. But I want to talk to you all about the 2 things about Outward Bound Adventures. One, as my wife said, we work with underserved, overlooked, and sometimes unrecognized youth. And 2, we work with them for a span. The average residence time in our program is 3 years. And a lot of people say, hey, man, I can take 10,000 kids and get them through our nature center in you know, a year. And that's good. That's good for some kids. But the populations we work with, you need them for a while. And so we've done 90,000 youth since we started running our courses back in the early 60s. I say the 60s because in 1959, it wasn't called Outward Bound Adventures. So I'm going to talk to you about the pedagogical relationship between DEI and EE. But before I do that, I talked about we work with unrecognized groups. I want to give a shout out to my brothers and sisters that are here from the Pueblo tribe, I want to tell you how much we appreciate your presence, and I'm hoping to see you here again and again and again and play a much wider role. They're up there in the back, and I think there's some other folks over there. Welcome and thank you for being here. The pedagogical difference between DEI and EE, it arises from the philosophical tenets of both DEI and experiential education programs. So you all know it. I don't have to share it with you, but as part of my talk, I have it here, so I'm going to share a little bit of it with you. Reflection, critical analysis and synthesis, authenticity, all are engaged intellectually, emotionally, and socially. Instructors examine their own biases and preconceptions to see how they're influencing their participants, risk-taking. Everyone is involved discovers and examines their own values. That is the some of the fundamental tenets of DEI and EE. So it would seem that the EE world would have a very good start at being more diverse, because experiential educators come from this diverse range and this wide swath of professions. Y'all know we come from teachers, therapists, mental health professionals, outdoor ed instructors, course practitioners, challenge course practitioners, environmental educators. We come from a wide swath of professions. But this is where the DEI and the EE, the experiential education link, becomes a little weak, because our world is not reflective of what we do. It is not reflective of the people that we reach. And our world can be rather homogeneous. And not to turn anybody off, but to turn you all on, our world can sometimes be disproportionately white. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I married a white person. That's humor, okay? So what happened here? What happened here between DEI and EE and this world that we live in? Let's examine that. Can we examine that together? Let's examine that, okay? What I've discovered is that one key EE principle has not been followed very well. A principle that is fundamental to establishing good DEI programs. And that principle is a DEI program and an EE program or experience should be structured to require the learner to take initiative, to make decisions, and to be accountable for results. And this case, who is the learner? We are, right? You, me, we're the learner. And it's not just our kids when I'm talking about DEI. So most programs that I've worked with over the years, and I've worked with hundreds of programs, have not structured their DEI attempts so that we take the initiative and we often don't hold ourselves accountable for the results. Let me explain that, because some of you are saying in your head, no, that's not true. That it can't be true. Well, a whole lot of us operate under the assumption that to make our organizations more diverse, we should make our programs more accessible and more inclusive. So that's a huge attempt that we make for DEI. So we actually do take the initiative to do outreach, and we make the decision to provide greater access to our programs. But how we provide that access is where some of us fail. What we do is we invite others into our world, and that is the build it and they will come concept. But some folks don't get that. They don't get the memo. It's out there, go to it. So we have to travel outward. I forgot to show y'all a slide. No, that's a bad thing about operating your own slides and talking, because it's like walking and chewing bubblegum, right? No. All right. So that's really a great start when we decide, okay, build it and they will come and we'll provide access. But it's also making some of us oblivious to the cultural community values and the barriers that those outside of our world experience. So we need to start looking at changing internally, changing our programs so they're more inclusive of the amenities and the cultural values of other groups. It also puts the responsibility on the outsider to show up and little accountability on us when the outsider doesn't show up. Because we go, hey, look, we did our job. We did outreach, but they didn't do their job. They didn't show up. So we have to change that paradigm. We have to really work with that. And you know that we all value community. We value, but little of us spend time really building the structure to maintain the kind of community that we value. We value interpersonal relationships with other racial groups, but most of us have very few, if any, relationships of substance with other racial groups. And if you do, right on. More power to you. Keep on going. And we value others' voices, but oftentimes we ask them to come in and speak from our platform. We need to build that platform together. The ultimate result of that is change moves slow, maintains the status quo, and it's homogeny. So our group is still kind of homogeneous, much better than it was 25 years ago, much better than it was 15 years ago, much better than it was 10 years ago, but change is slow. So DEI and EE is about creating common ground and enduring relationships where everybody has equal prospects for success or failure through reciprocal growth. And what is reciprocal growth? Reciprocal growth is they grow through EE, the folks that we're serving, and we grow by learning how to remove barriers. That's reciprocal growth for everybody. Thank you. I got a little amen out there. All right. So here's some of my experiential educators. And I don't know where I am on this slideshow, but you get to look, you get to look at them early, okay? Common ground, equal prospect, reciprocal growth. These are the outcomes from that one EE principle that at times we don't follow very closely, and the one that's for structure, initiative, and decisions and accountability. So often we don't even start our DEI initiatives. So there are really 7 key reasons why folks don't start DEI initiatives. Can I ask you guys, because this is an experiential education group, what do you think the #1 reason is for people not starting their DEI initiatives? Just holler it out. You can popcorn it up or whatever. Does anybody know? #1 initiative. Say that again? Fear. Yep, it's fear. They say, I don't know where to start. #2 is the DEI. It's up to the DEI committee to make sure that happens. #3, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. #4 is I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing. And #5, I'm afraid I'm going to make things worse. #6, hey, we are diverse. We have 3 Black staff and a bunch of women on our team. And #7, oh, I'm so tired of talking about this. My friends, my white friends are going to say to me, there she goes again, talking about diversity. So that is a big turnoff for a lot of folks who are not people of color that are trying to bring people of color in. And people say, just stop, please just stop. So, but let me share with you that sustainable DEI requires us to live by the processes that we work by and to transform ourselves through our own experiential processes. In other words, you need to practice what you preach. Can I get an amen on that? Okay. If we do that, we can avoid that exhausted paradigm of, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Okay. I am not sure where I am in my slideshow, so please forgive me, but that's all right. Okay. There's a guy, his name is Hal Gregerson, and he wrote a book called Questions Are the Answer. Has anybody read that book? Yeah, it's pretty new. But he says in there that those who are bold enough to ask daring questions have been able to provide answers that shape the world. And I truly believe that, because that old paradigm of I don't know where to start and know what to do can be busted up by creating a new paradigm, by learning to ask better questions. Questions like, how can we share our power so you feel completely franchised? Or how can we best support you to remove the barriers you're experiencing to get into experiential education? Or even better is, how can we make the EE world a part of your community? So you see, our industry is about nurturing, and I'm going to do that, about nurturing and developing people who are often need to be liberated from their own self-imposed limitations. But it's equally about developing meaningful, sustainable relationships with communities that have historically been absent. Why? Why is it equally about that? Because our collective liberation lies in abolishing inequality. Our collective liberation, not just theirs, all of ours. And that is the ultimate goal of EE and DEI. There's the, okay, I'm catching up with myself now. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I am sorry, folks. I think I am. I want to present to you a model, and I think there it is. There is the questions. And there's where we are. I want to present to you a model that I developed in pursuit of abolishing inequality. At OBA, at Outward Bound Adventures, DEI is our jam. That is what we do, okay? And we've always integrated EE and DEI by adhering closely to the teaching philosophies of experiential education, you know, focused reflection, progressive skill building, expanding knowledge base, clarifying values, and a deep connection to community by developing people's capacity to positively influence their community. So I want to show you how we do this. There are 3 critical points to OBA's program development. The first one is we've developed our program so there's multiple portals of entry to create MOCA. Not coffee, MOCA. And MOCA is our acronym for multiple opportunities for consistent access. If you're going to change folks, they have to have multiple opportunities for consistent access. The next one is linked program matriculation. And that's just a fancy way of saying all of our programs are linked. Young people can matriculate up and down and sideways and forward any way throughout our programs. And I'll show you that in a minute. And the third thing is we hire and train from the communities that we want to serve. Here's our, I think this is our training class from 2021.
Sunshine. Don't step down in the sunshine. Sunshine. Step round in the sunshine.
Go girl, look at it.
That's the.
We do a lot of dancing in our training. So that is our last class. They're running courses for us now. But we have a training site. It's on Wind Wolves Preserve. That sign you saw is going under. It's 90,000 acres of natural land, and we train on that preserve. When they come to us, typically they don't know much about experiential education or getting outdoors. What they do know, though, is they know an awful lot about being from a marginalized group. Now that is difficult to teach. So we start from there, and then we bring the other hard skills in. So I'm going to show you my quick or 5 programs real quick, and then we will start working on a conclusion here. Okay, so these are my 5 programs. We have environmental studies expeditions, and I'm not going to presuppose that you can't read, and I'm not going to read it either. We have the Youth Advisory Council, and that's for folks that come off the environmental studies expeditions. They typically go into this because they want to stay. That's our continuity program. We have a program called Teach Me to Camp that you heard my wife talk about. There's a program for low-income single moms that don't often have an opportunity to go on a vacation. So we said, let's create a vacation, but let's also create some curriculum around that. So they go there and they do 2 things. Well, they do multiple things, but the 2 things that we focus on is values clarification and goal setting. And I'm going to tell you guys, the first time I ran this Teach Me to Camp, we've had hundreds and hundreds of families in this Teach Me to Camp. The first time I got several phone calls after we ran our first Teach Me to Camp, and I went, oh my God, what happened out there? I wasn't running the courses, but there are other folks running the courses. And a father called me, I'll never forget. He called me and he was crying, and I was really nervous. And I said, well, what happened? He said he never ever in his life he didn't know what his daughter wanted to do, nor did he know that her values. So they clarified her values, and they never had a family goal. And usually 99% of the people that go into that program don't have any values. I mean, shouldn't say it that way. They have never written down their values. Of course they have values. And they don't have their goals written down. So this is a program that's been super effective. And I said it was for low-income single moms. It soon expanded to just all families. However, the community we're working with chooses to define their family. We have 2 more programs. We have something called the Diverse Outdoor Leaders Institute. It's going in its 13th year. We've graduated probably about 400 instructors now, and they're all over the place. They're not just at OBA. And that is just to make sure that we have instructors from the communities that we want to serve. So we have Native American instructors, Asian instructors, African American instructors, Latino instructors, and we work a lot in the BIPOC community as well. And then the last program we have is called the ERT, or the Environmental Restorations, Youth and Adult. These are the folks that go out and do the long expeditions. Sometimes they're out 26 days in the woods. Sometimes they're out just a day planting trees in the city. But this is to get them ready and feel comfortable going outdoors, but also get them ready for a career in the outdoors. So those are our 5 programs. And this mess is, it's a little bit, it looks messier than it truly is. So you can see that in our Teach Me to Camp program, I'm going to walk you through. So I have a young man in my program. His name is Justice, and he's gone through the program. So a young person can go through Teach Me to Camp. Let's look at Teach Me Camp down in the bottom corner. And the moment that they hit 14, they can go into the Youth Advisory Council. That's the YAC. Okay. And then the moment they hit 16, they can go into the ERT. the environmental restoration team. And the moment they hit 19, they can go into Dolly. Dolly staffs all our programs. So we have these folks circulating throughout our program, typically anywhere from 600 to 1,200 a year circulating. Now remember, we keep kids for as long as 3 years. Not everybody stays, you know, we have an attrition rate, but we keep kids and we keep feeding them back into our programs. The other thing is that we also open it up to outsiders who want to come in and train, because we've trained tribal groups. We have trained firefighters that want to go into the Dolly program. So it looks like a mess, but it actually works for us. So I want to just quickly present to you the 4 phases of how we developed our programs, and then we'll close with that. So the first phase, and this is getting into the correct mindset. The first phase is decide that you will not remain neutral. If you get that accomplished, you're going to make change. I'm not going to remain neutral. And you know that the DEI work is everybody's job in the organization. It must be done with persistent intentionality. Decide that you want to change and decide that you want to move away from the status quo. Okay. That's the very first thing you do. The second thing, you got to banish the ants. You guys know what ants are? Some of you must know. Automatic negative thoughts. Banish the ants, okay? Don't listen to those little conversations in your head that say, you're going to say the wrong thing. Instead, have this conversation with yourself. I may say the wrong thing, but I know I'm doing the right thing, and work your way through it. But you got to banish those ants, okay? And the third thing is check your culture at the door. If you're looking into DEI, check your culture at the door. Just bear in mind that your own filters may be the problem, okay? So when you check your culture at the door, you got to learn to listen, to understand. You've all heard that before. You can't judge, no judgment. And you got to be open to how you do things, to changing how you do things. All right, I'm going to take you through these other phases quite quickly because I want you folks to see that creating a very diverse organization and working in communities can happen anywhere. Because I've gone into organizations and people have said to me, you know what, there's just no diversity here. And I've said, well, you know what, I just looked on the map here and there's a reservation 2 miles down the road. Have you guys connected with them? Or there is even a Russian immigrant community right up the street. So diversity, and you know, there is a BIPOC culture club on the college campus. This was in Utah, and they just sometimes folks just don't know where to tap into it. So I want you to know that creating something like that takes a little bit of digging, but if you make that change, that you're not going to stay and you're going to move away from the status quo, it's very easy to get a more diverse population and more diverse staff. Okay, so I'm going to go into phase 2. Phase 2 is this. Map your culture, review your current programming, design aspirational idea goals. Ideas is inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. And then start your aspirational goals. Phase 3 is determine staffing needs. Engage your organization. Engage those in your organization who have the greatest access to making change. I'm working in a project in the South right now, and I made a big mistake. I didn't engage the people who really can make the change. And so I had to go back and redo a whole bunch of my work. Create an incremental action plan and timeline, milestones. And this is really crucial. Key performance indicators. Develop those KPIs and you monitor them religiously. Phase 4 is give a voice, position of power to those who you wish to engage, message your intent to the public, implement increment number 1. That's number 7 back there, right? Oh, you don't see the 7, but I do see the 7 there. Sorry. And monitor your KPIs religiously. That's super important. Okay, so let me conclude with this. It bears repeating that sustainable DEI initiatives require us to live by and transform ourselves through our own EE processes and principles. Yes, baby, I know that's right. I got an amen from the baby. So just remember that, please. Take that with you. Let's transform ourselves through our own work. So today, you all have given me something that I can never return, and that's your time. And I really hope from the bottom of my heart that this time was used for the best interest of the young people and the people that you're going to serve, and in your best interest. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I forgot my manners. I just wanted to thank AEE for giving me that wonderful honor. I really appreciate it. I know there's some other awardees in the audience, and I know I'm in really good company. Thank you so much for that honor. And thank you all for spending this time with me.
Hi, everyone. If you haven't met me this last 3 days, I'm Sherry Bagley. I'm the Executive Director of AEE. I wanted to thank Charles for sharing his journey and his work in experiential education and for inspiring us to hold ourselves accountable for the results. The power of experience. Have you felt it the last 3 days? Has it reinvigorated you? Are you recharged or exhausted right now? A little of both, right? I know I've felt this power. I've seen it. I felt it. Might have even smelled it a little bit. You know, there was some popcorn smells last night. There was talk about fart during Activate. You know, there's some things happening. But from our opening with our very powerful Activate speakers, which showed us how our community embraces and supports vulnerability and values storytelling, to our willingness and openness to play and release our inner child at the Children's Museum, we have come together and shared this experience. We have learned, we have laughed, and we have loved. This experience takes a lot of planning. We spent over a year making this happen, and it's wonderful. But I'm going to take a moment to thank people. And as I thank you, I want you to stand up so everybody can see how many folks this whole experience takes. First, I want to give a big shout out to Anna Miano, our membership and marketing manager. And Callie Alman. Keep standing, keep standing. Anna, keep standing. Keep standing. Mo Kappas and Dan Dunn, our co-conveners. Thanks for bringing us to Madison. Our host committee, if you're on the host committee, these folks have worked all year too to make all these things happen. Our host committee, Carla Hacker, Jen Stanchfield, Karen Wong, Lauren. Stand up. Our service crew, if you've been part of our service crew at all this week, stand up. You all have made everybody's experience better. Our board of directors, our board, stand up. Thanks for leading us. Any committee members, if you help with socials, our workshop committee, stand up. Our presenters, if you presented these last 3 days, stand up. Our UW conference services staff who have been here at every step of the way. Thank you. Our sponsors and exhibitors, if you were a sponsor or exhibitor. Our UW building staff, our AV crew. All right, look around. Do you look like any of these folks? You could be part of this next year. Thank you all. You can have a seat. Oh, and thank you so much to our ASL interpreters and our closed captioning folks. Thank you. Again, this is a huge undertaking, and from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you all so much and the honor of being part of this community. Something that Charles said is resonating with me a lot. Our collective liberation lies in abolishing inequality. We are committed. We are ready to do the thing that Heather is asking us to do to go further. So I invite you to invite people. I invite you to do the things that Charles said. I invite you to continue this work and all the work you are doing in your own programs. As you go back there and you think about your reflective piece that you wrote down or you put in your phone, do that thing and then continue to do the things. We can make change in this world, and we will. I also want to take this last thank you for Amy Clymer, our MC. And she's going to close us out.
But first, huge thank you for this woman, Sherry Bagley. All right, just a few more comments as we close today. First, we want your feedback. We want to know what you think. Yes, please. Yes, please. We want your feedback. So two things. One, the workshop evaluations. Hopefully you've been doing that all along, but if not, you got a lot of homework. And we would love your feedback on the conference evaluation. Sorry, let me move out of the way. If you want to get these QR codes now, and these will be sent out via email. I'll also be sent out via email if you're just a little too tired. That's okay. But pay attention to that email that comes, because we don't know what you like or don't like unless you tell us. So if we only get 25, evaluations back, it's not that helpful. I mean, it's helpful, but not as helpful as 200, right? So raise your hand if you're going to commit to filling out a conference evaluation. Let me see you. Okay, this is good. Thank you. We love it. Who would be interested in some more AEE love besides this conference? What you got depends, right? Okay, so here's what's next. If you want some more, here's where all the regionals are, or when they are, rather. Definitely highly recommend checking out your regional conference. I find regionals, they're smaller, it's a little more intimate. It's a great opportunity to get to know the people within your region at a deeper level. And it's also a great opportunity to present. So the call for proposals for some of them are already out, I believe, or else coming out really soon. So pay attention to that. If you either presented here and you loved it and you want to share that with your region, or if you weren't able to present, or maybe you got inspired, submit a proposal when those call for proposals come out. So just pay attention to your emails for that. And then next year, we are going to be in Estes Park, Colorado. Super excited about that. So that's I guess a little later, November 14th through 17th. So I hope you all will join us next year. And right now, it is time to go have some ice cream. Woo! Our next thing is we got ice cream sundae making buffet line, crazy awesomeness. This is our way to put the little cherry on top at AEE. And when you get your ice cream and you're having a conversation, maybe ask each other, hey, what'd you get out of this conference? What'd you learn? Continue that conversation as a way to go deeper in that reflection. All right, I'll see you at Trip Commons on the second floor for some ice cream or else next year. All right, bye everyone. Woo!
I want ice cream.
Me too.
When having some serious FOMO.
Yeah.
Dad, can
Yeah.
I get ice cream?
We'll see. We'll see. I know best not to commit to those things unless it's definitely.
Yeah.
Baby want ice cream.
And we gotta
I-
figure out some dinner and then see about sweet treats. But man, it's been nice to hang out with y'all in the virtual space. Thanks for showing up consistently. Are you hugging your
Hugs to
right
you
now, Monte?
all.
Abrazos, mi amiga.
Abrazos, amigo. Abrazos. That was
So good to
amazing.
see you all.
Yes.
Thanks for your workshop, Mache. It was
Oh.
excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. I had a great time. I really miss you all. So let's keep in touch.
Yeah, it's nice to be together, even though we're thousands
You
of
have to come to Wales.
All right, let's figure it out. You
Is
know,
that
Yeah.
cream? I
just
want
you just
ice
talk to
cream.
somebody who needs some kind of experiential program or consulting, and that will probably help me get to Wales.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. Yeah.
Okay, my
Awesome.
Okay. Love you.
Okay.
love
Thank
y'all.
you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Can we get ice cream? Please.